Please have a seat. On va continuer sur la santé et parler d'une collaboration assez atypique mais très intéressante. À mes côtés, Naseem AMIN, CEO de Orphalan, et Stéphane LEPEU, pardon, directeur général de Delpharm. Effectivement, Stéphane, Sébastien, sur les fiches, avec la lumière, on lit pas. We're going to switch in English just to be worldwide and talking about health. Naseem, you've been a long time in the Orphalan. What's the point of your collaboration, and can you explain what kind of collaboration did you do with our French company, Delpharm?
We are a rare disease company,
Here.
and we have been developing this drug for over a decade, 10 years. And actually, Delpharm were involved very much in the very beginning and have been our partner for over 8 years now. And when we started, it was a product from a hospital in Paris. The Lariboisière Hospital had been using this medicine, but it had been abandoned for a decade, over a decade. It was no longer used.
What is this medicine about? Can you detail what's the medicine about that was used in Lariboisière and that you were collaborating with Stéphane?
So this is for a disease called Wilson's disease, where they have an inability to remove copper from their body. And this drug is an oral medicine you take for life. It binds the copper in the blood and excretes it through the kidney. Normally, copper is excreted through the liver. And because the genetic defect, it cannot be excreted through the liver. It's a very, very rare disease. There are only 5,000 patients in Europe and 5,000 in the US. Worldwide, we think there are about 100,000 patients with the disease. And the hospital in Paris was the main reference center for this disease in France. And that's how they developed the medicine there.
So you decided to, after a decade that nothing was done, you decided to make a collaboration with Delpharm. What did you, you did come from them because you were collaborating. What did you do? Tell me.
So my understanding is right from the beginning, actually the first meeting at the hospital, Delpharm was there with us. And so they became our industrial partner. We were the developer of all the clinical data, the safety data, the data you need to convince the European Medicine Agency, the FDA, that you have a safe and effective drug. But to make the drug, we were partnered with Delpharm, who are, Stéphane can introduce himself and what they do, but we wanted to work with someone who would partner with us. And we were only a very small company. We only had 2 employees, myself and a CFO. And so we partnered with many different people who had the expertise. So we were, if you like, the conductor. But we had to work with many different companies. But Delpharm was critical in that process.
What was the goal of that research, that move that you did in the research of this rare disease? What was your goal as a company?
So our role was that the molecule was extremely unstable. It needed to be kept in a fridge, and it's a lifetime therapy taken 4 times a day. And so can you imagine someone who has to take up to 8 tablets a day for life, and they cannot eat for 3 hours around each meal? And on top of that, they have to keep the medicine in the fridge. So we developed a room temperature stable form that we reduced to 2 times a day. So it made the patient's life much easier.
But still that fasting, or not fasting for 3 hours?
So today they fast, but twice a day. We are now actually in partnership with Delpharm again, developing a once-a-day medicine. So it will only be taken in the morning, and then the rest of the day is normal.
That's a huge progress. Maybe you can detail us, Stéphane, this collaboration first, and the progress that you made in that rare disease.
Thank you. First, maybe I'm going to say a few words about Delpharm. Delpharm is a major manufacturer of drugs. We produce more than 1 billion drugs boxes every year. We've got 19 sites in the world, but actually 11 in France. So we are very proud to have a huge network in France where we manufacture for companies such as big pharma, like Sanofi, Novartis, Bayer, Roche, mid pharma, and also companies like Orphalan that are, let's say, very small and need our support. It's key to understand that today, when you enter a pharmacy, 1 box out of 3 is manufactured at a contract manufacturer and not by the laboratory himself. So it's, I would say, major trends over the past years that, I would say, big companies want to outsource their manufacturing.
As a big company, what convinced you to make this collaboration with a very small company? We're talking about 2 people.
Yeah, indeed. And to be honest, I was about to mention that the first meeting I had, like 10 years ago, was in Hospital Lariboisière. And that's quite unusual for Delpharm to go in a hospital to see.
Yes, it is.
And to have the opportunity to discover such a disease, the Wilson disease, and a company, a startup that would, I would say, like to develop such a product. But this is really the DNA of Delpharm. It is to be able to work for major company, working for, let's say, mature products that are needed every day, like paracetamol or I would say classic product, but also for innovation product for big or very small companies. And we were very
yes, but it's innovation, but it's not paracetamol. It's a rare disease. It is cost. It is a time.
And we have to work in a different way. So let me give you an example. Last summer, we had a call end of July while the site of Delpharm Évreux was about to close for maintenance. And we had a call from Orphalan who said, we need 20 boxes. 20 boxes. We absolutely need 20 boxes to be shipped to Finland because some patients are in need of their product. So for a company like Delpharm, 1 billion euro of turnover, having a call for 20 boxes, we must work in a different way, to be clear. And we must adapt and have a certain flexibility to be able to work for, I would say, classic paracetamol with millions of boxes produced every year to product where we have a sudden call asking for 20 boxes. And we are proud to have given our expertise and galenical expertise, as Naseem was mentioning, to, I would say, be able to scale up a product that was an hospital formulation to a product that have the right stability, the right, I would say, all what is needed to be sold all over the world. And there was a great development done on a film-coated, because the product is a film-coated product, to be able to meet all the requirements that Orphalan had given us.
So as Delpharm, you see that as an investment in a way, because producing 20 boxes in the middle of summer, as a huge company, it's a huge cost for you, isn't it?
It's a huge cost, but again, it is our DNA to provide drugs to patients. So we have to be flexible. We have to find solution in order to meet our customer requirement. Be there some, I would say, small few millions of euros to Roche or Pfizer with 50 billion euro turnover.
Talking about DNA, is it the French way to work that you can adapt? You have this flexibility. I want you both answers.
Yeah, and to be clear, I'm often asked, oh, you are working in the pharma industry as a manufacturer, so you must have had many plants in India or China. No, all our sites are in Europe and 2 in Canada, and we are very proud to bring the French expertise, the European expertise to manufacture drugs. And being so close also help us to have a huge flexibility. 20 boxes to deliver in Finland in a few days, that would not have been possible with the manufacturing in India or China. And at a time where there is a lot of out of stock on the market, having a production in Europe is for us the best way to cope and to ensure the supply of drugs for patients.
Naseem, do you agree with what Stéphane says?
Absolutely. I think for us, I mean, these, you know, for our drug, this is really life critical. If a patient does not get supply for 3 months, they may need a liver transplant. That is how quickly they deteriorate. So for us, having a local, the whole supply chain in France was critical. We did not want to ever be at risk. And during COVID, we saw that, you know, our supply was local, and we were able, because of the outstanding supply chain Delpharm provided us, it was business as usual. We had no issues. And when we have a few patients, one newly diagnosed patient in a country, we may need to make that a unique pack because the language has to be finished, all the instructions have to be finished. So we can't take one product from Spain and move it there. We have to localize it. So when we had these 20-pack requests, that you cannot do that if you're doing it in China or India. And that is why we were able to do this. And also there's in some ways a moral obligation because the product was originally invented in France. It was developed by a French company, Orphalan, in partnership with Delpharm. And so for us to try to save a few cents does not make sense. And we never want to put the patient at risk. You know, in these ultra-rare diseases, it is different from many other diseases. You know each individual patient.
Okay. A last word from both of you about this strength that French companies has and the way to work, maybe, you know, to shine abroad. Is that something that we don't know that much yet?
Yes.
For foreign countries?
Well, we now export to over 30 countries, and we're about to start in China later this year. And that was only possible because of the flexibility. We would never, as a small company, have had the opportunity to work with a company with Delpharm's expertise if it hadn't been for this collaborative partnership. It was not easy. There were many times we had major challenges, but we overcame them together.
As Naseem says, Stéphane, it's not an easy job. You're a French ambassador of the French industry. How do you feel about that?
To be honest, very proud, because as Naseem just mentioned, we started for French patient and European patient, but then we export all around the world. And actually, the site where this product is manufactured was not FDA approved, and we got the grant of FDA for this product, for an orphan drug product. And it was an excellent collaboration between the two companies. And this helped us to, I would say, have many export in the US and as of next year, also in China. So you can imagine how proud we are to have some drugs so important for some patients manufactured in France, not only for European patients, but also for North American, South American, and Chinese patients.
Stéphane LEPEU, General Director of Delpharm, CEO, and Naseem AMIN, CEO of Orphalan. Thank you and congrats for your collaboration. Thank you.